The Colts and the Titans have a huge matchup in the AFC South. The Seahawks and the Chargers may have a high-flying shootout on Sunday afternoon. The National League and the American League Championship Series in Major League Baseball are starting to heat up. We have three huge ranked versus ranked matchups in college football with a lot at stake. And the NASCAR Cup Series goes to Miami with -1 driver. And I'll explain that here in the show. And we will start the show, and I'll have more on today right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Pleasant Friday morning, everybody. It is now time for the Scott Manning YouTube Friday Sports Machine. We have a lot to talk about here in the next half hour or so. I am so glad to have you guys here with me here today. Excuse me. We're going to jump right into the show, and we're going to have a great time. The Indianapolis Colts face the Tennessee Titans in a huge matchup in the AFC South. The Titans have one tie. The Colts have one tie on their record so far. As we go into this matchup, this is going to be so much fun. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay has already said the Titans are going to be a tough team to beat. The game is in Nashville. I'm hopeful our Colts can get the job done. Tennessee safety Kevin Barrett he's already said, bring Indianapolis on. We ain't scared of them. We're ready to play. And we're going to play our hearts out for 60 minutes, and hopefully we can get it done. Indianapolis head coach Frank Wright has already said, all roads go through Nashville. He is absolutely right. If another team wants to win the AFC South, they're going to have to go through Nashville to do it. And I'm talking about the Tennessee Titans. But here's the problem with Tennessee. Tennessee's had so many 3-and-outs this season. It's a miracle they're playing 500 ball right now. And even Tennessee head coach Mike Vrabel from Ohio State has already said, we're ready to play, but we got to put points on the board because the Colts are tough. And he even gave some respect to the Indianapolis Colts. And he said, the Colts are a great team. I have a lot of respect for them, and we're ready to go. But we're ready to win, but we got to put points on the board. We can't go 3-and-out almost all the time. Coach Vrabel's given his team credit for the wins they've had so far. Now, this is a huge AFC South shootout. And that's what we're going to be looking for in Nashville on Sunday afternoon. Here's the deal. And I'm going to call it the way I see it. It's not about who wins this game is in the driver's seat. This is going to be a game that's going to have a lot of people talking, even in the northeastern part of the country. We're going to have a great game between these two on Sunday afternoon. That's just all there is to it. Bottom line is, AFC South, get ready and buckle your seatbelts, fans, because it's going to get crazy on Sunday afternoon. All right. Let's move on. We've gone from the AFC South to the NFC AFC West. The Seattle Seahawks face the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday afternoon. This is a 4:25 game on Fox. Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll's already said we're ready to play. Our offense is ready, but our defense may not be. And basically, LA Chargers head coach Brandon Staley's already said we got some high-flying offense, but our defense needs some work. Keep in mind, Charger star Joey Bosa is out injured. That could be a big thing. But the quarterback matchups, I love this. Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, 1,502 yards passing already, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, 1,716 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions of his own. But the defensive woes are going to be maybe the story of this game. The Seahawks defense has given up 27.2 points per game and 410.8 yards per game. That's nearly bottom of the league. The Chargers defense, a little better, but not by much. The Chargers defense has given up 25.3 points per game. Yeah. And 349.8 yards per game. Oh boy. If you want a shootout on Sunday afternoon, this is your shootout right here. But I'll tell you what, this could be a game of who wants it the most, on whose defense is willing to answer the bell. That's the thing. Both head coaches have already stated, and they've already admitted, the defenses have had some injuries. We grant you. But the bottom line is, whoever wins this game is really, really going to earn it. Which offense will answer the bell, or which defense will be willing to play? That's the question for the Seahawks and the Chargers. 4:25 on Fox Sunday. Let's get it on. That's all I have to say. Now, those are your 2 NFL games of special interest, believe it or not. The Dolphins play the Steelers on Sunday night. I'm not going to concern myself with that right now because the Steelers are struggling. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to go any further on that today, unless I absolutely need to. But let's move on anyway. The league championship series in Major League Baseball just started this past week. And already in the ALCS, the Astros have a 2-0 lead in the series over the New York Yankees in a best-of-7. Last night in Game 2, the Astros took a 4-2 victory, and a very well-deserved one at that. Last night, Alex Bregman was 2 for 4 with a run. He had a home run, and he had 3 RBIs in the ball game. Yuli Gurriel was 2 for 3 last night. And Jeremy Pena, this guy's hitting 500 already in the league championship series. Now, last night he was 1 for 4 with the strikeout, but so far in this series, he is 4 for 8 with 2 doubles, a home run, an RBI, and the strikeout. This is why the Astros got the job done last night. But as for the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge so far has not been anything to brag about. Aaron Judge has this thing. Either go big or go home. And it's showing already. He's only 1 for 8 with a run and a strikeout in the series so far. He was 1 for 4 with a run. That run came last night in a 1 for 4 performance. That's only been his only hit in this series so far. Harrison Bader last night, he was 1 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Giancarlo Stanton, a bad night for him. 0 for 4 with a strikeout last night. Now, the Yankees and the Astros have an off day today for travel. They're heading back to New York for Game 3 tomorrow night. We'll wait and see what happens, but right now, the Astros own a 2-0 series lead over the New York Yankees, going as the series heads home to Yankee Stadium. We'll see how the Astros do there. But if this is any indication, this series is going to be over very, very quickly with the way the Yankees are playing right now. I doubt that's what's going to happen, but you never know. I'm just saying. Now, Game 3 of the National League Championship Series is tonight. The series moves to Philadelphia. For the San Diego Padres, Joe Musgrove is going to take the mound. During the regular season, Musgrove had a 10-7 record with a 2.93 ERA and 184 strikeouts to his credit. Musgrove has been pretty good in the postseason so far. We'll see how he does in Game 3 of the League Championship Series. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, Ranger Suarez is going to get the start tonight. He's got a 10-7 record with a 3.65 ERA and 129 strikeouts to his credit. Excuse me. Tonight in Game 3 is going to be an interesting one. Will the Bats stay cold? Will the Bats stay home in Philadelphia? We'll have to wait and see. Because Musgrove is a good pitcher. He's one of the best that the Padres have. Will the Philly Bats come to life when they go home tonight? Now, this series is tied at a game apiece in this best of 7. Nobody expected these two teams to clash in the League Championship Series. Nobody did. Nobody saw this coming at all, to be quite honest with you. But I'll tell you what. So far in the National League Championship Series, it's been anything but. I'll put it that way. And that's the truth of the matter on this day. All right, we've talked about the NFL. We talked some Major League Baseball today. Now it's time to go to my bread and butter. College football. Oh, yeah. Now, how are we going to start this off? How about we got 3 ranked versus ranked matchups with huge implications on the line. Today's focus is going to be the ACC and the Big 12. I'm just going to tell you up front. How are we going to start it off? How about with our big ACC matchup? Number 14 Syracuse versus number 5 Clemson. What is at stake in this ball game on Saturday? How about a possible spot in the ACC championship game? That is what's at stake. We're not talking about the Coastal or the Atlantic divisions. We're talking about a spot in the ACC title game. That's what could be at stake. That's what's at stake in this high-stakes matchup. And the key matchup in this high-stakes game is Clemson running back Will Shipley versus the Syracuse run defense. Now, Will Shipley so far has 96 rushing attempts, 867 yards, and 8 touchdowns to his credit. The Syracuse rush defense is second in rushing defense, only giving up 95 yards per game. The Syracuse run defense is that good. Now the defense has got to find a way to stop Will Shipley. That's the key right there. And I'll tell you, I'm going to say this. If Syracuse's defense answers the bell, quarterback Garrett Schrader will have an easy time with it. But here's the main thing. Syracuse's run defense cannot let Will Shipley get outside or get up the middle. That's his bread and butter right there. And that's all there is to it. Now, the players to watch in this game are Syracuse quarterback Garrett Schrader. He's top 5 in the ACC. 1,434 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he's got a QBR rating of 76.3. That could be a key to the game. Which leads me to the player to watch for Clemson, defensive end Miles Murphy. He was slow getting started, but think about this. He's got 24 total tackles, 15 solo, 9 assisted, 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He leads the team in sacks this season so far. Garrett Schrader is going to have a face full of Miles Murphy almost all game. 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. That'd be enough to get my attention. And I'm not even playing. I'll say it again. The winner of this game is going to be right in the ACC championship game. Almost guaranteed. Almost a done deal as far as that goes. May the best team win on Saturday. The ACC, this promises to be a battle all the way to the end. And that's just all there is to it. Actually, I messed up. I said there were 3 ranked versus ranked matchups. I forgot one. This one is coming to us out of the Pac-12. Number 9, UCLA. Number 10, Oregon. What's at stake? How about the top spot in the Pac-12? Not a bad deal. The key matchups to this game. Both teams are strong on rush attack and rush defense. Oregon averages 241.7 yards per game in rushing. UCLA, 211.5 yards per game. That's something to think about when it comes to running the ball. And the rush defense, Oregon's only given up 99 yards per game rushing so far on their rush defense. UCLA, 98 yards per game. I know this is kind of like a tale of the tape, but this, when I saw this last night, I look on here and look for notes. This is what came up. But the players to watch out for are the 2 quarterbacks. For UCLA, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 1,510 yards this season, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has a QBR rating of 88.4, and he leads the nation in completion percentage with .748. That is huge. For Oregon, it's Bo Nix. 1,526 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a QBR rating of 85.8. And he has 8 rushing touchdowns this season. He's not afraid to take matters into his own hands when it comes right down to it. Everybody's asked me all week, what's going to be the deciding factor in this Pac-12 matchup? I told them, watch the 2 quarterbacks and watch the rush match. Watch the running game for both teams because they know how to do it. This promises to be a really excellent game. And this one is coming to us from the West Coast. The game is in Eugene. UCLA hasn't won there since 2004. This could be their year. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the ball game on Saturday afternoon. 3:30 kickoff on Fox. This promises to be exciting all the way to the end. All right, let's move on. Part 1 of the Big 12 matinee, or should I say the Big 12 double feature. Number 20 Texas versus number 11 Oklahoma State. What's at stake possibly? A possible spot in the Big 12 championship game. Both teams have one conference loss already. You get a second one, you might as well say it. Your season's over, and you're not going to be playing for a Big 12 title. I thought about this all week. Oklahoma State, are they still smarting from that loss against TCU? It could be a little bit. That loss could come back to haunt them. But if they lose to Texas on Saturday, they're not playing for a Big 12 title. Now, the key matchup for this game is Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. Yeah, my apologies. Quinn Ewers versus Oklahoma State's pass rush. Ewers so far has 820 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But Oklahoma State, their pass rush leads the conference with 2.83 sacks per game. That could be something to watch going in. And Oklahoma State's defense has got some very big dudes. And that's all there is to it. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about this all week. If Oklahoma State's rush defense, pass rush, comes into play, Quinn Ewers is going to have his hands full. Because some of those guys in Oklahoma State, they are big. And the players to watch in this game for the Texas Longhorns is running back by John Robinson. 138 rush attempts, 780 yards, 10 touchdowns. He leads the Big 12 in players with he leads Big 12 players with 111.4 yards per game rushing. That is huge. And for Oklahoma State, you guessed it, Spencer Sanders. He's a dual threat quarterback. 324.7 offensive yards per game. That is huge. And 1,639 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he's got a QBR rating of 78.7. Sanders is not afraid to put it on the line. And he's not scared to put it up. Remember, the loser of this game, you're not going to have a shot at the Big 12 title. The loser of this game, they're almost out. They're going to be out of it. And the winner could possibly have a shot at the Big 12 title, depending on how everything else goes. This is a 3:30 kickoff on ABC. And everything and anything can happen on any given Saturday. It's the Big 12. Need I say more? All right. Now, this is the 8 o'clock game on FS1. Number 17, Kansas State versus number 8, TCU. Nobody saw this coming at the beginning of the season, including myself. What's at stake? Sole possession of first place in the Big 12. This is a big-time matchup. This is primetime Saturday night's main event. And the key matchup is Kansas State's defensive end, Felix. I'm going to try to pronounce his name. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. Felix Amadike Uzama versus TCU's offensive line. Look what this guy, Uzama, has done. This season alone, 21 total tackles, 15 solo, 6 assisted, 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He leads the team in sacks, and he's tied for the National League with 1.08 sacks per game. Last year, he had a career-high 4 sacks against TCU. That's just something to think about. But the TCU offensive line has allowed only 3 sacks in the last 3 Big 12 games. It's going to be the defense versus the O-line. That's where this game is going to be decided. Which offense, if it's going to be K-State's Uzama or TCU's offensive line that answers the bell. But on top of that, Kansas State has a dual threat. Adrian Martinez, 900 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. And he's got a QBR rating of 75. And Chance Vaughn, 120 rushing attempts, 661 yards, 3 touchdowns this season. Excuse me. But as for TCU, the guy to watch on my watch list is Quentin Johnston. 34 catches, 500 yards, 2 touchdowns this season. Folks, there's a lot at stake in this game. Kansas State, if they go on the road and beat TCU, it's going to be something well worth writing about. Kansas State's Amadike Uzama is one of the best defensive players that Kansas State has had in years. He leads the team in sacks with 6.5. Tied for the National League with 1.08 sacks per game. If Kansas State wants to win this game, Uzama is going to have to repeat his 4-sack performance from last year. Will that happen? We'll have to wait and see. Remember, sole possession of first place in the Big 12 is up for grabs on Saturday. Everything is on the line, and it's not over yet. Bottom line. Okay, enough of college football talk today. Let's move on. The NASCAR Cup Series goes to Miami on Sunday afternoon. Last Sunday in Las Vegas, Joey Logano won his way into the Championship 4 with a win in Las Vegas. Christopher Bell, chase driver and championship contender Christopher Bell, got caught up in a crash. Not of his fault at all. Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson had a collision, had a crash last Sunday in Las Vegas. Bubba Wallace turned Kyle Larson into the wall. Bubba Wallace has been suspended for one race. He should have been suspended for the rest of the season and fined very heavily. Everybody's agreeing with Kyle Petty and all the NASCAR guru, all the NASCAR guys who talk the sport. Bubba Wallace should have been suspended for the rest of the season because his actions on Sunday could have killed Kyle Larson. And it also took Christopher Bell, a chase driver and a championship contender, right out of the race. Bubba Wallace, they should make Bubba Wallace attend anger management classes. And should he be suspended for the rest of the season? Absolutely. He has since then apologized to Toyota and Kyle Larson. But if I was Kyle Larson, I'd tell him, you can take that apology and stick it. Because I'll tell you right now, what Bubba Wallace did was inexcusable. He could have killed Kyle Larson. And then when Bubba got out of the car, he jumped up and tried to shove him and throw a couple of punches. Larson kept his cool. He could have easily swung back, but Larson kept his cool. If I was in charge of NASCAR, I would have said, bring him to the hauler, and I'll take care of it. And if I had it my way, Bubba Wallace would have been suspended for the rest of the season. Now, I know things happen on the racetrack. And if I get spun around, I'm saying, hey, I'll see you in the garage area. You and me are going to talk about that. But I would never go out and do what Bubba Wallace did. I'm not that stupid. I mean, when Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison had to crash at Daytona, back in Daytona in '79. Yes, they got out of their cars. Bobby stuck his nose in where it didn't. Bobby Allison stuck his nose in where it didn't belong. But here's the thing. What Bubba Wallace did was absolutely despicable. He should be suspended for the rest of the season. And that's all I have to say about that. Now, the Cup Series moves to Miami. And we've already got two drivers that have clinched a spot in the championship 4. And that's all there is to it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts. Last Saturday, you saw it. Tennessee knocked off Alabama. Alabama's got Mississippi State this coming Saturday. Tennessee, are they coming off the high of knocking off Bama after beating Alabama after 15 years of getting humiliated? I think so. Alabama got humiliated. That's all there is to it. They got beat bad. It was close on the scoreboard, yes. I'll grant you. Tennessee made some mistakes. But Alabama, 17 penalties, 130 yards. Nick Saban was taking a bottom. Basically, in that game, I was watching Nick Saban take a course in Bobby Knight cussatology. Now, that game is over. It's a new weekend. It's a new weekend in college football. And that's all there is to it. A great opportunity. And to close the show, I figured it'd be appropriate to do this. Rocket Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Go to Rocket Top. Woo! Rocket Top, Tennessee. Thank you, Tennessee, for upsetting Alabama last Saturday. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you so much for being with me on this Friday morning. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and you We'll see all of the sports shows I have done so far. Thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. I'll be back Sunday night at 11:30 with the Scott Manning YouTube Sports Sunday Sports Machine, and with a wrap up and a complete wrap up the entire weekend. Thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Saturday, on this Friday. I mean, and you guys have a wonderful day, and God bless. Goodbye, everybody, and I thank you.